The first thing we're going to do is we're going to watch, what is this dude's name? Michael Knowles? Yeah, Michael Knowles. He is going to try to teabag on Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks for admitting that she was wrong. Like, I watched that clip. Hopefully Knowles will show it. But it's like the first guy, was it Rosenbaum? He had just gotten out of a mental hospital. I still don't think that throwing a bag at somebody is worth their life. But he was more aggressive than we might have been led to believe at the beginning, and Anna apologized for that. Yes, I will take rips because I'm not high enough for this.
Told us about Kyle Rittenhouse was a lie. Kyle Rittenhouse was that young kid, teenage kid.
Did he say everything you've been told about Kyle Rittenhouse?
BLM and Antifa rioting in Kenosha. Rioting that was spurred because BLM and Antifa wanted to defend a criminal thug sexual assailant who resisted arrest and then tried to drive off with a woman's kids, and then the cops shot him. And so they were defending the...
I think they were defending the rule of law
and they were very
and the principle that the government can't just shoot you dead in the street.
Trying to protect property, and he had a gun on him for his self-defense, and he shot at some people who were attacking him. And so the left called him a murderer, a white supremacist, a mass shooter, all this stuff, right? Then the Rittenhouse trial has been going on this past week. It turns out everything they were telling us was a lie. Even the people that Kyle Rittenhouse shot admitted that he shot them in self-defense. When one of the witnesses admitted this, the prosecuting attorney just put his head in his hands. He just thought, oh no, my case is completely fallen apart. And to their credit, or at least to her credit, one leftist, prominent leftist, is admitting she was totally wrong. That would be Anna.
She did not admit she was totally wrong. She was wrong about one specific part.
To me was how all of this unfolded. What was the thing that sparked it? What started all of it? And initially, I was under the assumption that Rittenhouse was the person who was chasing after Joseph Rosenbaum. That's how it had started. But I was wrong about that. Okay, so I want to correct the record. I was in fact wrong about that. So those details matter. Right? Who was chasing who matters. The gunshots by some other unidentified person, that matters, especially if you're Rittenhouse and you're running away and then you hear shots and then Rosenbaum lunges toward him.
It does matter. And she did get it wrong. And the left generally got it wrong. And kudos to her for admitting it. It's good. Shows some integrity. The broader point is not just to give plaudits to Anna Kasparian or the Young Turks or whatever. It's to show that this left versus right thing is not always a left versus right thing. There's something bigger going on.
I don't know why there are so many rubes
versus the people.
Dib, you're like, why are there so many right wing like people on my level? Like have roughly the same size audience and shit. Why are there so many of them on the right? I can just troll them all day long. Like fucking, hey Jake, when you coming on the show, motherfucker? They're like, and I get all their advertisements and shit because Facebook knows I'll respond because I always troll them. So I mean, like constantly, it's a deluge of these right-wing assholes trying to be like Michael Knowles and Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk. I mean, more power to them, I guess, because I'm doing it, but like there's so many of them and they seem kind of well-funded. There are some that I do not know how their production value is so high unless they're hiring somebody to come in to speak to less people than I am.
Versus normal people who are on the right mostly, and some in the middle, and even a few on the left.
Well, thank you. I enjoy this bandana. The look of it, the feel of it is not that nice. This is my Pussifer concert shirt. That is what I'm wearing. Thank you for asking.
This is how Joe Rogan can go from being a Bernie bro to vigorously opposing Joe Biden. Right, Bernie bro in the primary, vigorously opposing Joe Biden in the general, and now he's lumped in with the right-wingers. He's not a right-winger, but he's really a left-winger. He's a man of the left, but he opposes.
That's more complicated than that.
Okay. There is a little bit of a, I think, a coalition to be had here. With when you are up against not just the left or not just socialism, you know, that's what the House Republicans.
This was a segment on Kyle Rittenhouse. How do they all do this? Like everything, every single thing they talk about is like the woke left, the cultural Marxism, the socialism. Seriously, the fucking right-wing show I've been trolling, it's every goddamn episode of his show. Because I laugh at them all. Joe Biden is a puppet of the leftist Marxist war on the world. This guy's got a doctorate. This is like he was in my chat the other day. He's got some producer, he's got somebody like making his shit look decent. And like, ain't nobody watching him. He's got money backing him from somewhere. By some right-wing think tank. Like he's a speaker for TPUSA and shit. That was a segment on Kyle Rittenhouse, and it just like it became the left is this, the left is that, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Start up here. We're gonna watch all these clips.
And I was cornered from in front of me with Mr. Zeminski. And there were three people right there.
Take a deep breath, Kyle.
That's what
So I'm gonna go ahead and say it right now. Him taking the stand was a very bad idea. Like, you can't tell me this comes across well.
That's what I run.
We're going to just take time for our break anyway. You can just relax for a minute, sir. We're going to take a break about 10 minutes, and please don't talk about the case during the break. Watch.
So you see the emotional breakdown there of 8.
The emotional breakdown. He had to have been coached to do that.
That's a pistol?
Correct.
You didn't pick out the AR-15 for any other reason?
I thought it looked cool, but no.
You didn't pick it out because you wanted to go hunting with it, did you?
No.
You didn't pick it out because you were going to use it to protect your house, correct?
Correct.
You picked it out because it looked cool.
I thought it looked cool. Guess that's the reason, yes.
It resembled Dominic to buy you an AR-15.
This is the cross-examination by the prosecution.
I asked the court to strongly admonish him, and the next time it happens, I'll be asking for a mistrial with prejudice. He's an experienced attorney, and he knows better.
Mr. Finger?
First of all, Your Honor, this was the subject of a motion. I'm well aware of that. And the court left the door open.
For me, not for you.
My understanding of
You should have come and asked for reconsideration. You did on the one motion, and in fact, I granted your motion for reconsideration.
That was not our motion.
Excuse me. I did. I granted.
We did not move
That
to
was their
reconsider.
motion.
I was getting ready to pack a bowl, but I already have.
It was their motion for reconsideration, which I denied. But I said I denied it, or I indicated a bias towards denial is what I did. Held it open with a bias towards denial. Why would you think that that made it okay for you, without any advance notice, to bring this matter before the jury? I was astonished when you began your examination by commenting on the defendant's post-arrest silence. That's basic law. It's been basic law in this country for 40 years, 50 years. I have no idea why you would do something like that. And it gives, well, I'll leave it at that. So I don't know what you're up to.
May I respond?
Yes.
We filed an other acts motion on this exact issue because, in my mind, and I argued this, it is identical to what was going on the night of August 25th, in the sense that the defendant was using this exact same weapon. He was using it in a manner to try and protect property.
No, he wasn't.
Your Honor, with all due respect,
I'm not going to rehash the motion. Yeah, that's absolutely untrue. No. Your argument's of record. My comments are of record, and why I ruled as I did is of record. There's nothing that I heard in this trial to suggest that anything's changed, even if you're correct in your assumption.
So, wild admonishment by the judge to the prosecution. Apparently, this is another instance of the judge admonishing the prosecution.
Coming in, and you decided that it was.
if I could just respond to that briefly, Your Honor, I was about to say, I did not interpret your ruling as an absolute. We've had 3 state motions in the case. There was one in which we asked the court to introduce evidence that the defendant was at Pudgy's bar with Proud Boys, and you were clear that is not coming in. There was.
Don't get into other subjects. Come on, what you're telling me. You're an experienced trial attorney, and you're telling me that when the judge says, I'm excluding this, you just to take it upon yourself to put it in because you think that you've found a way around it? Come on.
If I may finish, Your Honor, I was about to say your ruling on our 3 motions and other acts motions there were some gradations there. You were clear that some things were absolutely out, and then you left the door open on other things. So I saw that distinction, and I thought to myself, clearly I know this is out, but you left the door open on other things. So I didn't.
Now, I'm assuming the jury is not seeing any of this.
And I have practiced before you, Your Honor. I have filed other acts motions.
They have the jury leave when judges and lawyers go at it like this.
And I think you even said something to that effect at our motion.
I undoubtedly did.
So I thought this is my good faith explanation to you, and if you want to yell.
And the right wing has ate this shit up.
This morning, after watching that testimony, was you had left the door open a little bit. Now we had something new, and I was going to probe it.
I don't believe you. There better not be another incident. I'll take the motion under advisement, and you can respond.
Pudgy's bar with the Proud Boys.
When you say that you were acting in good faith, I don't believe that. Okay.
Where else would you go with the Proud Boys?
Everybody in good faith.
He's telling the prosecution, the people working for the state that I'm sure have argued cases in front of him several times, telling him he doesn't believe they're acting in good faith. Okay, so this is the defense saying that they want a mistrial.
I think that's necessarily what I'm supposed to do. But I think the court has to make.
They're saying that the prosecution is wanting to do a mistrial on purpose.
Bad faith on the part of the prosecution, and if the court makes a finding that the actions that I had talked about were done in bad faith, then I think both elements. I don't think that's necessary.
Apparently, that's also a song that Trump used at his rallies. That interrupted. The judge's phone rings. The ringtone is Lee Greenwood's patriotic anthem, God Bless the USA. The This is the prosecution questioning Rittenhouse again. Which is odd. Judges aren't usually biased against prosecution.
Just asked you, so you're a certified EMT, and you said yes, correct?
Yes.
That was a lie, correct?
I'm not an EMT.
You're not a certified EMT. You're not an EMT of any kind. You weren't on that night, correct?
Yes.
So you lied to him, correct?
I told him I was an EMT, but I wasn't.
And you knew you were being interviewed by someone in the media when you told that lie, didn't you?
Yes.
Pushed everybody south to 60th. You never saw any people threatening that property, correct?
I didn't see anybody.
And your goal that night, you took it upon yourself to protect the 59th Street property, correct?
The owners asked.
Sure. But you were going to station yourself at that property to try and protect it from damage. Fair?
The car source locations, yes.
And once the police had pushed everybody south of that, there was no more danger.
At that car source location, yes.
Okay. So why not go home at that point?
Because the police were still pushing people back, and then they were backing up, and I was still helping people provide medical first aid.
Okay, so the police had established the line at 60th with their Bearcats at that point, right?
Yes.
And there was no indication that they were going to reverse and back up and move back north again that you saw, correct?
No, they did it earlier in the night where they did the same thing.
Right, but this is at 11:30, 11:40 at night, and they've established that, the police have established that line, and as far as you can tell, it's going to stay there, right?
I don't know.
And you talked about trying to provide medical help, but there's no one around that needs medical help at the 59th Street car source.
That's what the defense putting him on the stand was a stupid move.
So you don't have any purpose there anymore, do you?
Other than...
So why not go home?
Because I was going to help people provide first aid and medical assistance.
But that wasn't the reason you were there that night. You were there that night to protect the 59th Street car source.
It was one of the reasons I was there. Part of my reasons of being there was to protect the car source properties and provide first aid and medical assistance.
You wanted to play soldier. You wanted to play cop.
Be attacked and ambushed.
But you just said you had it for protection. What were you expecting you would need protection from?
I thought we had covered much of this before.
I'm specifically focusing in on the time period where he is heading down to the 63rd Street car source. I have not asked him about this yet, Your Honor.
Well, go ahead, but you need to pick up the pace somewhat.
I didn't think I was going to be attacked.
Yeah, the judge is clearly having it out. Fucking yeah, this is the Pixels video where they're having an argument about whether you can zoom in on a video.
But Richards is saying, and I'm not going to accept what you're telling me. I said if you can offer somebody who's knowledgeable in these areas, the document or the I think
I'll testify.
The image. But this is high risk to me. If you insert more data into an area of space, well, you're wagging your head no. Tell me where I'm wrong.
There's no proof in this record that we're doing that, Your Honor.
I didn't say there was proof of it. I said you have the burden of proof. You're the proponent of the exhibit, and you need to tell me that it's reliable.
That's a good possibility.
That I know.
I've been saying all along, a hung jury is probably the most likely, but
well, then why show it? I mean, the reason you want to show it is because it enhances the image, right? No, one at a time.
I'll say what Mr. Krause was just saying. The defense has taken videos and photos and cropped them, zoomed in on them, on many.
Yeah, well, like the judge is giving him a hard time about zooming in on pictures.
After the shooting, you run around those cars and head back towards the direction you originally wanted to go to, right?
Yes.
So those people didn't stop that, did they?
They weren't there after I shot Mr. Rosenbaum.
They scattered after you fired your gun 4 times, didn't they?
Yes, they weren't there anymore.
And you've heard Dr. Kelly's testimony that the first gunshot from you to Mr. Rosenbaum caused Mr. Rosenbaum to start falling to the ground. Did you hear that testimony?
I did.
And then you continued to fire 3 more shots into him after that, didn't you?
I continued to fire until he was no longer a threat to me.
When he's
got him in the back of the head.
He's no longer a threat to you. His pelvis is broken, right?
I don't know.
But he's fallen to the ground, isn't he?
I saw him ledging towards my gun, and I remember his hand on the barrel of my gun.
Because he was trying to push it out of the way so you wouldn't shoot him.
You were the danger.
Stand. What was the risk to you of death or great bodily harm at the moment you killed Joseph Rosenbaum?
If I would have let Mr. Rosenbaum take my firearm from me, he would have used it and killed me with it and probably killed more people if I would have let him get my gun.
What?
Mr. Rosenbaum never said anything to you about taking your gun, did he?
He didn't say anything, but he tried to take my gun.
And whoever's got that gun...
I think he tried to protect himself.
If he would have taken my gun, he would have used it against me.
Let's break that down. First of all...
And like the judge is not letting him say it. Oh, here we go. He cries again on cross-examination.
Why'd you point it at him if you didn't have any intention of shooting?
He was chasing me. I was alone. He threatened to kill me earlier in that night. I didn't want to have to shoot him.
Well, surely he's guilty of... Okay, like, you guys are saying he's going to get off, but surely he's guilty of the initial charge of being in illegal possession of a firearm by a minor. Like, he's clearly guilty on that one, right? Like, there are other charges besides the 2 homicide charges. So... I would assume he's guilty on at least that one count.
It is, to point a gun at someone, don't you?
I pointed at him because he kept running at me, and I didn't want him to chase me.
But you understand how dangerous that is, don't you?
I pointed at him because he was chasing me.
I'll ask the question a 3rd time, Mr. Rittenhouse. You understand...
Don't comment. Just ask your question.
You understand how dangerous it is to point a gun at someone, correct?
Yes.
You understand that that puts someone else in fear that they're about to be killed, right?
He was chasing me.
Is that his mom right there? Is that who they have a shot of that is crying profusely?
Asking you why you just shot someone, right?
Yes.
And you told him he had a gun.
At the time I was a little dazed, and I was thinking of Mr. Zeminski with the pistol he had at the Duramax.
So you shot Mr. Rosenbaum because Joshua Zeminski had a pistol?
No.
You don't get to shoot someone else. You don't get to shoot someone else because someone else has a gun, right?
No.
But you told the crowd he had a gun, didn't you?
That's what I said.
And that wasn't true. Mr. Rosenbaum never had a gun, right?
He didn't have a gun.
Now, can we please play exhibit number 3?
He had a bag.
At the 1 hour, the crowd that are asking you why Mr. Grosskreutz, you were going to the police, right?
Yes.
And then you said, I didn't shoot anyone, right?
I can't really make out what the last part of the words were saying.
Do you remember what you said?
I remember saying, I think I said I had to.
Let's play that back 10 seconds and play it again, please. Pause. Aren't your exact words, I'm going to the police, I did not shoot anyone?
That's what I remember from that night, but watching that, it sounds like I said I didn't.
That, again, was not true. You just had shot someone, correct?
I did.
Why didn't you tell the truth?
I was being chased by a mob, and I don't really remember that interaction.
Well, because you shot someone.
Let's play Exhibit 5, please. Right?
Yes.
And you have an AR-15, correct?
Yes.
And at this particular moment, he's not pointing his gun at you, is he?
Not at that moment.
But you've got your gun pointed at him, correct?
Looking at the video, I think I'm lowering my weapon. I think it's just a still shot of where you have it to where that, but I believe in the whole video I'm lowering it, and then he points his gun at me.
No.
Can you help me understand, Mr. Rittenhouse, why Gage Grosskreutz, with a pistol in his hand, is a threat to kill you, but you, with an AR-15 pointed at him, is not a threat to kill him at this moment? Can you help me understand that?
I've been attacked by several people, and he decided to come and point a gun at my head. Well,
you attacked people.
Has he?
No.
So again, I ask you, in this moment, you told us Gage Grosskreutz is a threat to you right now.
Yes.
He's got a pistol not aimed at you. You've got an AR-15 aimed at him. Why is he more of a threat to you than you are to him?
Because he was moving at me with a gun in his hand.
This is right after you've killed Anthony Huber, correct?
Yes.
Right after you fired 2 shots at almost point-blank range at the man running towards the camera right now and missing him, correct?
Yes.
And you're telling us Gage Grosskreutz is the real threat at this moment?
Yes.
Yes, he was seeking trouble. He wanted a chance to use his little gun.
To those law enforcement vehicles, correct?
Yes.
And you still have your AR-15?
Yes.
And the crowd is pretty much run after they hear the shots, right?
Yes.
You still have your medic bag?
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
You never once offer to help anybody that you just shot, correct?
I don't.
When people needed a medic.
Correct.
Anthony Huber is lying there over on the ground after you shot him once in the chest, correct?
Yes.
You didn't know at that point whether he was alive or dead, did you?
I didn't.
You never went over to check, did you?
No.
You didn't know whether it was possible to save his life at that moment or not, did you?
I didn't.
And you didn't even care. You just kept on walking. Correct?
I kept walking to get to the police line.
Gage Grosskreutz,
Because the cops were on his
shoot him
side.
in the arm, is yelling, I need a medic. Did you hear that?
Yes.
That's in the videos, isn't it?
Yes.
You don't do anything to help him, do you?
No.
You just decide to get out of there as fast as you can. Correct?
Yes.
Leaving that location in downtown Kenosha and getting to Antioch, you were looking at social media, weren't you?
No, I wasn't. My phone was dead.
You had heard from other people that your name was out there, right?
later on in the evening, I believe I heard something, but no.
Was it that fast?
Was out there, right?
No.
You're telling me, as you sit here under oath, that after those shootings, between then and the time you turned yourself into the Antioch Police Department, you had no idea that there was social media out there with your picture and your name as the shooter?
I'm trying to recall, but I can't. I'm trying to remember. I'm sorry, I don't remember.
I have no further questions.
I have nothing on that, Your Honor.
You may step down, sir.
Your Honor, I have a witness. But before that, call that witness, I need to use the men's room.
About a 5 to 10 minute break.
I like that they left the I need to use the men's room at the end of the clip. Oh.